Hi everyone, this is Paul from Wheel of Games. I wanted to get out my prediction video for episode 7, The Darkness Along the Ways. Unlike all my other prediction videos, I have actually gone about and watched the teaser that they drop with Amazon every single Wednesday usually for the next episode. So I'm, a little more informed this time around, so that's kind of beneficial. I'm going to go through my hopes and predictions for what I expect to see. The teaser seems pretty good overall, but as per normal, we're probably going to get a nice, they do a nice little hypercut, but they always omit something big. Like, for instance, the whole thing with Logain's episode where, everybody almost died. They omitted that, so we're probably going to see something similar to that. So either way, if you enjoy my content, please feel free to follow me on Twitch, or also subscribe this video, and let me know that what you want to see from me, because after the show's over, I'd like to continue to be able to make content after the end of the year. So without further ado, here we go. So I believe that the gateway is just going to close, and we're not going to see Matt again for the rest of the season. I figure that Barney is gone, so they're going to take this time to introduce Donald Flynn as Barney, potentially in episode 1 of season 2. So while it sucks to lose him, Barney did a good job. I would, raise my glass to you if I have my mug, but I actually just have water here. But aside from that, the ways are going to close off. I hope and I pray to God that we just get this nice, long soliloquy from Loial, everything explaining the ways. Just what they were, how they were built, who gave them to them, what the Talisman of Growing is, all that craziness, and potentially maybe some explanation for how the Ogier used the ways without an Aes Sedai, since it was shown in the last episode that an Aes Sedai's channeling is what opens the gateway. So, aside from that, I think that we are going to encounter Mashadar in the ways. Based on the teaser, it has Lan screaming, it has Nynaeve looking apprehensive and scared, with a bunch of wind kind of spinning around, and you hear this dark voice going on. So we're probably going to get something along the lines of Mashadar, possibly reinvented for the series, because again, as terrifying as Mashadar is, it's only encountered a few times in the books. So maybe they're going to make it similar to the evil in Shadar Logoth, or something possibly far, far worse. Past that, we're probably going to get them out of the ways before halfway through the episode. I think that they're going to dedicate a solid, possibly 15 to 20 minutes to the ways. I don't see it going past that, and I do include that with all of Loial's soliloquy. I include that with any flashbacks that potentially happen in the ways, and I include that with the entire traveling of the ways. I think that we're going to get 15 whole minutes. And I think that because based on the context of what they're showing for the rest of the episode, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen. One, we see the Aiel fighting in the Blood Snow. Again, other angles, more fighting, and it looks like, when everything is said and done, we're going to have a lot about Rand's backstory potentially revealed in this episode. And it might not even be Rand recounting it. It could potentially be the actual soldier that fought in the Blood Snow. Potentially someone from the Ilianer Companions that is living in Faldara, wanting to fight against the Blight because he, survived the Blood Snow, and he's revered as some kind of hero because, he slew an Aiel and blah, blah, blah. So potentially you're going to get his recounting of it, and you're going to have flashes in Rand's memory somehow. And again, Rand's memory doesn't make sense in this sense because he wouldn't have even been born yet, but you could have a flashback for the audience, and you could have that revealed. The only other option, which I know is not even possibly feasible, is Tam shows up in Faldara. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have Tam in Faldara. It just won't happen. But it would explain a lot if Tam was going through everything. Or the only other way that this could work would be if Rand is recounting Tam's fever dreams from Winternight as the guy is telling the story, and he's putting the pieces together himself, and you're getting that visually as a observer. The problem with all of this convolutedness, this is what I would want to do, but I can see contextually how it does not work. But past that, we are getting the Blood Snow scene. I don't know if we're going to get all of the Blood Snow scene. I think it would be really cool if we got everything ironed out with Rand's past there. We do get the confirmation from Moiraine that whoever goes to the Eye that is not the dragon will die. Again, this is a thing with Aes Sedai where they can state something that may potentially be false if they believe it to be true. If they 100% are convicted to believe that something is true, they are able to state a lie, even if it is not, something accurate. And we know, at least as book readers, that the Eye of the World is not a death sentence for anyone. But I think Moiraine is stressing more that if they go to battle the Dark One or go to battle the Forsaken that is at the Eye, then people will potentially die. We get a flash of Perrin, looking like he has, some kind of wolf sense. It's a weird blur effect. I'm not sure if I like it yet. It might be to indicate Perrin smelling emotions. It might be to indicate Perrin, internally internalizing things, because I realize internalizing is redundant, but a lot of Perrin's character is in his head. So this might be the way that they go about trying to show Perrin's wolf senses, because when this other face kind of turns away from Perrin, it has golden eyes. We see someone channeling in the hallway. Again, we don't know who this is. It's left intentionally ambiguous. We know it's potentially not Egwene because she's not dexterous enough. We know it doesn't look like it's in character for Moiraine, but it could be her, or it could be someone that is a little more nefarious, that is in Fal Dara, that is causing some events to happen. We see a conflict with what appears to be Lord Agomar. I think that's the actor that's playing him. So we are going to definitely get a little bit more politics, and we're going to have Moiraine and Lan potentially trying to convince them to either escort them to the Eye or to allow them to use whatever pathway they have. And I know that in the first book, there was a big stirring with Agomar and the troops in Fal Dara because they wanted Lan to raise the Golden Crane and charge to Tarwin's Gap, because that's what he's been prophesied to do. At this point in the show, we have never had that prophecy come through. So we may also get a bit of Lan's backstory, which would be interesting if we got more of that. Because this is kind of the point where, I think there's a line where Nynaeve says, I should have expected him to be a king in the book. So for those of you that are uninitiated, Lan is the king of a fallen kingdom in the world of the Wheel of Time called Malkir, and it was overtaken by the Shadow. So everybody in the Borderlands reveres him because he is kind of the fallen king of this lost kingdom that stood against the Shadow. So for all intents and purposes, Lan is another version of Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, where he is a fallen king. He has right to a throne, but he doesn't, follow through with his claim on the throne because he feels yada yada yada. I'm not going to get into the whole backstory of Lan, but the bottom line is that with Lan as a character, we may get his backstory, which would be interesting. Now on to Min. So Min's been cast for a long time. There was initial knee-jerk reactions to Min being cast because she looked too old to be Min. Problem is, to anybody that's read the books multiple times, you're aware that Min is older. She's actually in Nynaeve's age range, if not a little bit older than Nynaeve, when the kids show up, when the party shows up in Baerlon. She's older. She is, more well-rounded in terms of her experience in the world, and she's the oldest of the three that, Rand ends up with at the end of the story. So Min is, able to be old enough. Her age looks fine to me, and I like the actress. I think she looks very Min in her costume. But you can see that she has a verbal altercation with Moiraine, which is interesting, and it kind of leads in from the rest of the books. Or not the books, but from the books, where Min just kind of doesn't care. She just kind of goes about her own way. She isn't, intimidated by the Aes Sedai. She doesn't like being around them because of her gift, but we'll get onto that. Moiraine's probably going to, petition Min to view all of the people to try to figure out exactly who the dragon is, because she needs to know who will and who will not die at the Eye of the World. Aside from that, I did see Loial does get to talk outside of Fal Dara. So we at least have a line from Loial. That makes the show automatically go up by 1 star, in my opinion. Every line from Loial increases it by 1 star, unless you get to 5, and then it's just more stars. But aside from that, I think that the show is going to pretty much lead us up to a big climax next week. I think that the biggest thing that we're going to get is we're getting the revelation of Rand's birth. Almost 100,000% guaranteed on that. We're going to get the record of what happened in the Blood Snow, and we're going to see, Rand's mother die, and we're going to, experience that epic scene from the trailer that all of us freaked out about, saying, "Oh my God, Aiel! Oh my God, an Illianer! Oh my God, let's go!" So we finally get that revelation, and so I think it's a little more interestingly placed to put Rand's revelation of his birth from an Aiel maiden in the first season of the show. In terms of the books, you don't find out the revelation that he was, born by a maiden officially until book 4, technically. And, I mean, you get the revelation technically in book 1 because of, Tam's fever dreams, but you don't get the full story of what happened with Rand until book 4. And it's also at that time we find out, as the reader, within a few other books, that he's also Andoran royalty and all that other stuff. So there's a lot that can be unpacked there, but I would not put it past them completely omitting the fact that we're going to get Lan's backstory as well. I think getting Lan's backstory is integral to this episode because it could explain why Agomar is trying to hold on to them and why it looks like he's, confronting them when they arrive in Faldara Keep. We do see Rand shoot an arrow, which means that, we are going to get a scene of him, training with his bow. We may finally get the scene of Lan teaching Rand the sword. That would be very cool. It will be a little, and it would be interesting if they did something where Rand and Lan have that moment where Lan teaches him the sword and teaches him about not necessarily sheathing the sword like he did right away, but teaches him enough to hold his own when he confronts the Dark One potentially in episode 8. I think that would be interesting. It will seem very, very, very cut quickly, though. For Rand to not have any training with the weapon until the episode prior, and it coming in clutch as something to save him, will seem a tiny bit rushed. And if we get another cut of 1 month later or something like that, I'm going to go nuts. I want this to feel very streamlined and action-packed. But aside from that, I think that that's the entirety of the episode. I think that we're going to get more Lan and Nynaeve moments. I think we're going to get more Rand and Egwene moments. I think that it's just going to, maybe we'll get another lesson with channeling from Moraine to Egwene. Maybe we'll get a lesson. Maybe we'll get that scene where, instead of having Siuan Sanche teaching Nynaeve, we'll have Moraine teaching Nynaeve how to channel slightly and discovering her block. But aside from all those things, I'm pretty sure that that is the integrity of what the episode's going to be. I think it's going to be, pretty quick. I really want the episodes to feel fast because that really makes things not feel like a drag. And we are getting to the climax of the season 1. So the more people that, or the faster that it seems to be going, the more stakes on the line, the better it's going to come across to the audience. But aside from that, that's my 2 cents. That's my predictions for episode 4. Or not episode 4, episode 7 of Wheel of Time, The Darkness Along the Ways, and I still hold to it. That title is a complete bait. We're going to get 15 minutes in the Ways. We're not getting a second over 15 minutes. I'll hold to it. 20 tops. 20. I'll give it 20. 20 tops, because that's a third of the episode. And we are going to get the rest of it is all going to be Faldara politics, Lan and Rand's backstory, and Loyal talking. Just give me Loyal talking the whole episode. I don't care if Loyal narrates everything. Narrates that a woman walked along the hallway swirling her hands. I don't care. Just have Loyal talk. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, and I'll see you guys on Thursday night. I'll see you tomorrow night. Right after the episode goes live, I will be dropping my review, and we'll see what happens. So thank you very much for your time, and have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.